Welcome to Mother Cluckers. If you're raising chickens in a hot climate like I am, it helps to know which breeds actually tolerate the heat and which ones need a little more TLC when the temperature rises. We'll show you the breeds that we have and how they tolerate the heat in Florida. Stay tuned. So let me tell you about the breeds I personally keep in my flock and how each one handles the heat based on real experience and research. If you have these breeds or are thinking about getting them, this might save you some trouble in the summertime. We have two barred rocks and they are reliable and sweet-natured, but because of their dense feathering, we watch them closely in the summer. They can handle the heat, but not as effortlessly as leghorns or olive acres. If your barred rocks are panting, holding their wings out from their bodies, or staying in the shade all day, it's a sign they're overheating. I usually add an extra water pan near their favorite shaded spot and give them frozen watermelon or fruit. The Rhode Island Reds here are sturdy birds. They're on the heavier side, but they're tough and adaptable. We do notice that they slow down a little in the hottest part of the day, but they bounce back fine. Just make sure they're not crowded and have proper airflow. They're good for hot climates, but they still need a break from the heat in the middle of the day, just like we do. The white leghorns, seen here, hands down are one of the best breeds for hot climates. These birds were bred in the Mediterranean, so they're built for heat. They have small, lean bodies and large combs that help them regulate body temperature. Mine stay active even on hot days, and they keep laying without missing a beat. If you're in a warm region, we recommend leghorns a lot. Here are our black sex lynx, and they're some of the best layers, and they've done better in the heat than I expected. They're bigger birds, so they hold heat longer, but they seem to adjust well. We've noticed ours are smart about finding the coolest spot in the run and staying there during peak sun hours. Just make sure they have access to cool water and a shaded breeze. Our Barnevelder is one of the most striking birds in our flock with her rich chocolate brown feathers laced in copper, but when it comes to heat tolerance, she's not as tough as some of the others. Barnevelders have fairly dense feathering and a heavier build, which makes it harder for them to stay cool in high temperatures. On hot days, we've noticed ours tends to become more sluggish, sticking to the shaded corners of the run and panting more than the lighter breeds. While they're not the worst at handling heat, they definitely need a little extra help, like well-ventilated spaces, damp soil for resting, and fresh, cool water available at all times. They're calm and not very active, which works in their favor, but they rely on us to create a setup that lets them beat the heat. If you're raising Barnevelders in a hot climate, pay close attention during those peak summer days. Look for wing spreading, heavy breathing, or any signs of heat stress, and be ready to step in with cooling strategies. Our olive agers here are similar to the Easter agers in heat tolerance. They're hybrids too, and ours don't seem to struggle much in the summer. Just like the Easter agers, we make sure they've got shade and dust baths, and they do just fine. And of course, the olive-colored eggs make it totally worth it. Our bantams here actually do better in the heat than you might think. Their small size means they generate less body heat, and many bantam breeds are quite active and alert. Ours handle summer pretty well as long as they have room to roam and a shaded area. But since they're smaller, we just make sure they're not bullied away from water or shade by the bigger birds. In our situation, we have a smaller coop and we separate the bigger birds from the bantams. We have two buff Orpingtons, and they're not typically considered ideal for hot climates, but with the right care they can do well even in the heat. While their thick, fluffy feathers were originally bred for colder weather, their calm, docile temperament actually helps them in warmer regions. They don't panic or overexert themselves in the heat. Their golden buff coloring reflects more sunlight than darker breeds, which helps slightly with temperature regulation. If you provide plenty of shade, good airflow, and constant access to cool water, buff Orpingtons can handle warm conditions without much trouble. Since we're in Florida, We successfully raise them by adding extra heat precautions like fans, frozen treats, and misting areas. So while they aren't naturally heat hardy like leghorns, they can thrive in hot climates with attentive management and a comfortable setup. Our lavender orpingtons, like these, are heavily feathered birds that aren't naturally built for hot climates, but they can still do well with proper care. Their dense plumage and broad bodies make them more prone to overheating, especially in high humidity, but what works in their favor is their calm, low energy temperament. They don't overexert themselves and they tend to find shady spots to rest during the hottest part of the day. Their soft, pale lavender coloring also helps reflect some sunlight compared to darker breeds, which gives them a slight advantage. In our experience, they do best when given lots of airflow, shade, and access to cold water throughout the day. Lavender orpingtons can absolutely live comfortably in a hot climate. They just need a little more help than your leaner, lighter feathered birds. So if you've got any of these breeds too, how are they doing in your summer setup? Do you have a breed that surprised you in the heat? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experiences. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.